Can you hear? Can you hear like the music at all? Can you hear? Can you hear like the music at all? Can you hear? Can you hear like the music at all? Can you hear? Can you hear like the music at all? Can you hear? This one is 267 pieces. Hence why there's only 2 bags. This one is 267 pieces. Hence why there's only 2 bags. This one is 267 pieces. Hence is 267 pieces. Hence
Oh, about now. I'm trying to just get it where I have like another input and I have the, I guess, the music playing through to that output and not have it loop, but I don't know. Seems like a bit of a challenge. It's an ongoing thing. I mean, I watched a bunch of tutorials, and of course, the one thing it says you need to do, I didn't see it as an option, but because like I mean, I have like a headset mic, but like I need to find a way of like turning off the mic, but it's linked to the. Is it looping now? And what can you hear? Because I have a bunch of things turned off. This is the Justice League anniversary party. So it's like the part of the movie where they were celebrating the Justice League and Batman wasn't invited. Well, these are the stickers that go to the, like the, I guess the DJ portion, and then the banner that goes above. And usually, like as of late, I haven't been applying any of the stickers, so I've got like a box full of stickers. And this looks like the wings for Hawk Girl. There's two different ones of those. There are a lot of trans clear pieces in this. And this set comes with notable characters: Green Arrow, Superman, and then Hawk Girl, which is in a bunch of like the Cartoon Network stuff. And then like the Justice League that they have on that. And there's the character they have in here called El Dorado. I don't think I've ever seen that character in a comic or cartoon or animated series, so this is just like one of those scenarios where they basically add every possible character that could possibly exist in this universe. So the first character is Superman. Yeah, so there's like a cape that goes with him, but along with the stickers, I just tend to hold off on that. And they used this piece in like the Joker when he escapes out of the Gotham Electric. He's got like a bunch of balloons, and Batman has a choice between saving the facility / city or capturing the Joker. And they use this piece to harness like the jetpack for that. But this is where they attach that wing to this. So this. So these. He saves the city initially, but um, it's like a ongoing thing where I mean he clearly has all of the resources to outmaneuver all of the villains, and then even when Joker assembles the entire team of villains to accomplish that initial mission, he gets a bit frustrated and he explores alternatives. So that's definitely this one's Hawk Girl. Grant kind of puts that in a little bit of a perspective, but it's not super clear. It's like if you, I don't know if I can focus or not. But anyway, like the print kind of like, you know, brings that more into like clearness, I guess. This one, I mean, it gives you two different ones, but I'm not entirely sure. We can try it. All right. That's like it's like the same style of game as like Agricola, except it's like cave people. I mean, it's roughly like the same cost for the game, but it has like a ton more pieces. I mean, I've watched a ton of videos on it, and it definitely seems super interesting, which definitely reminds me that I should, I mean, as the holidays are coming up, like I remember Jessica wanted to, give that a spin, so I might have to get that for her for Christmas. Yeah, it's round about that. I mean, it's got a ton of pieces, Yeah. Well, I mean, the other thing you could do is I'm trying to think. Like, I mean, what do you think about let's see. Like, I was thinking about doing that the chip and dip party in January, like early January, like maybe like 3 days after the New Year, like around the 4th. I think it's a Friday. And that way everyone will have like a month. So like maybe like a Friday around like 6 o'clock. Um, but that way people can request off or make plans for it, that kind of deal. But I like the resource management games, especially like in that one. There's like questing, and as well as like trying to expand your cave, and trying to make sure everyone's. I may have to take you up on that, but for sure, like maybe like just you can bring it on like that day we have the party, because I haven't really figured out what would be like the best game to kind of have everyone participate with. Like the last gatherings I had, we would play Dead Last, and I mean it was one of those games that like I guess to me I enjoyed it, but like it had a lot of potential for like feel bad, and so I'm trying to think of some alternatives that would include everyone and not feel like a scenario where it's like people have to sit out or get voted out. I mean, my strategy when I did that was like we'd have like a whole another room where people could like we'd have music playing and people could kind of like hang out and dance or whatever, just to kind of like in between rounds. But a lot of times people were really focused in on the game, and so it created like a lot of tense moments, I guess. But, I mean, at least with like that other game that we used to play up at Roll the Dice, it was like like if someone did get eliminated, the game ended within like 2 rounds, so it wasn't really a whole lot of downtime. Yeah, that one. Yeah. I the premise of that was like it was like werewolf, obviously, but definitely had its own thematic twist. Yeah, that one. I mean, it's a good game. Yeah. then we could give that a spin. I mean, that one's up to what, 7 players? I mean, it definitely requires a lot of like patience and like forethought. And that's a good one. Because, like, the way that our place is laid out, we definitely have 2 rooms. So, it will definitely make it easy to kind of facilitate like everyone piling up in corners. In YouTube, for just being like an active participant. And don't you have to like send the same thing over and over to like for that to be the case? I mean, does it just tell you like slow down, or does it actually have any sort of like safeguards? Well, we know that doesn't apply for us. So. I mean, it's one of those things where like there's like a bottleneck in those games where like you have to make a decision, and like it's like a make or break moment, and it boils down to like a 50-50. But I enjoyed that game. I mean, I've got like a Ultimate Werewolf with like the 40 different characters, and then like the 6 different expansions, and I've got them all like in penny sleeves and top loaders, and they're all in like a two lane box. But I mean those kinds of games I think are a blast. I mean, we might be able to give that a spin. But it's interesting to go through all the different build techniques from these different sets and try to take an inventory of how to apply them to like different themes or concepts or But it's like interesting when you look on the different, even when you just Google the different like scenes, it'll show like characters they haven't made figures for this. But there's a couple of them, like I know like the Wonder Twins, like the actual like Lego Batman version of those is going to be like that's in series 2. That was always an interesting group because like the female twin had like actual powers, and then the male twin just it was like an absolute like, clown show with his abilities. Like she would turn into like a T-Rex, and then he would turn into like a bucket of water, and so forth and so on. It'd just be like a whole bunch of like incredibly like average abilities for him, and she would actually be like the linchpin in what needed to be done between the two of them. Greetings, Just Built. Glad you can join us. So I think we both tried to catch your last one, and like it was right around the time that you're supposed to do it, and we didn't see you on there. And then when I looked up that one, I don't know why. Did you not post it to your Twitch? Because I wasn't able to see that one on the videos that were available on Twitch. But I appreciate you checking in, as always. I haven't. I'm excited about it now that you mentioned it. What are the themes on that? Are they a hybrid of like the movie where they have like other characters involved, or is it just more like characters that they haven't made in minifigures? Because I'm still missing, in terms of like the box sets, I'm missing the Arkham Asylum and the Batwing, and the 2 runs of the minifigure sets. Um, I mean, ideally, I'd like to have those before the end of the year, but it might be in my best interest to wait till January. I don't think the Batwing is going to go less than 30% because, like, I know they still have a few in Barnes and Noble. If I were to travel like 2 hours, to go pick it up at a direct location. I mean, it makes sense to kind of like focus on like tying it all into the movies, you know. But because there's a lot of characters, if you see, like I had clicked on the scene where it showed the Justice League anniversary party in the movie itself, and they they didn't have a Green Lantern for the Lego Batman movie. They didn't have the Flash. They don't have a Wonder Woman. They don't have any of that stuff. So it's like, if you're gonna complete like the whole scene, I guess that there's still a ton of more figures that they can do. I mean, of course, they've been selling out of those mini figure series things, but I don't know if it's like if they printed. It's all based on the print run. So if they just printed less of Series 2, they might be less likely to print more of that kind of stuff. Well, make sure you post it in your videos so that we can. So I don't know. I don't like. I had difficulty pulling it up when I looked at the last time I tried to find it. But however it is, I'll definitely check it out. The other thing too I've noticed is that these gear sets. Well, that's why I didn't see it. I was looking on Twitch, but I'll try to pull it up on the other thing when I finish this. But you'll notice they've got different pieces now that have these holders for these gears, and you can I guess you can set up your different like motors and battery functions to kind of link it all together. Because with the Batcave, they had a bunch of these to move the suits around. They had one that could rotate the like the bat suit with Bruce. I have like the coffee company. If you go to let's see, that's the website, and then yeah, and that's like the Twitch or Twitter, sorry. But that's the only one I have. and that's just for our coffee. Well, thanks. I just added those today. Of the ones that I have, I would say I think this figure's pretty cool. But that one comes in like the egghead set. It's a Condiment King. That one's pretty cool. I mean, in terms of like the non like traditional characters. But that's from like the standpoint of it being like a, it contains a considerable number of pieces relative to. But I mean, I guess like in terms of personality, like I think because I usually speak in riddles, I often try to make it where like a handful of people know what I'm talking about, and so to them it seems like what am I saying? But so like I like the Riddler in that regard as well. Like as far as a character who has not been made into Lego, or just a Batman character in general. I mean, I tend to enjoy like the different characters that like get expanded into the universe whenever they add new characters. I like the idea of having like Clayface being a good guy now with like the Bat family in that run of the comics. I like usually like the interactions and Easter eggs that they put in like Gotham, like with Lucius and then his son, and then like that expansion in regards to more characters with that. They've done the same thing with like Batgirl and then Batwoman, and then going back into the backstory of like Batwoman's father being a part of like that military group and such. So I mean, all that kind of stuff is super interesting to me. I mean, Harley Quinn's a popular character. I think whenever I get that coaster, I'm gonna, because it's got like the red track, I'm gonna like try to theme it toward that, and have and call it the Quinn coaster, and have it wrap around the manor. So that should be an interesting build. Like I was trying to figure out the different like amount of height of the base of the manor I'd have to add to it in order to build it up to the right height for that one part of track that goes through the center to go through the entrance. So that's part of like the motivation for working through that that other like studio project I've been working on with that. But I mean, in terms of like comparable villains, I like any villain who's like actually has a chance to beat Batman. Those kinds of things are like something that intrigue me. Well, it's like the coaster. It's the coaster set, like the creator coaster set, but I'm integrating it with the manor. But the manor is going to be like so much higher, and what I had was the path that minifigures have to go on when they buy the tickets to get to the loading dock or deck, to the carts themselves. But I also modified and created like a change in elevation. So instead of it being flat, I have that drop off, and then I have like the water below, and I added the railings and different stuff like that I'll be able to run thread through to make the I guess the rails. But I mean, there are definitely like a lot of modifications. And then the last couple of days, I was looking at the different like actual like theme parks that exist in terms of the entrances, and trying to work out like some ideas for a design plan for having the entrance to the like the Wayne Island that eventually it's gonna all be a part of for like a theme park access point. And so like doing like a mock for that, and then maybe submitting that on ideas, and having like a lot of the shops and different like areas where people can eat. I'm in Central Time Zone, so it's let me see, it's 6 o'clock here. And it's wild because I was cleaning some more of my older Legos, and like you see a lot of the pieces from back then. So we're in the same time zone. But it's interesting because I mean I have Legos from like 20 years ago, and they've got like this piece. I mean, the thing is, it's like with the older sets, like there are a lot less like specialized pieces. So even when I was looking at the list of I like when I was like your age and I was making the list of all the sets that I wanted to get, but I only got like maybe 80% of them because I've got like 25 of those sets over a course of like 4 years. Um, and there are sets that I don't have, and then I go and look at the images of them, and it uses a lot of the same pieces. And they don't have a whole lot of specialized pieces, so it's like, aside from maybe a few minifigures from like the sets that look like Robin Hood, I mean, it's like I could just order a few pieces and maybe an instruction booklet, which, I mean, it's weird because like you go to the Lego website and they don't have the instructions for the older sets. They don't, I mean, they go back a number of years, but they don't go back as far as like the sets that I have. But I saved all the instructions for the ones I do have. But if I wanted to try to use the pieces that I had to make like a stop motion like you've been doing for those sets, I mean, I would have to like buy the instructions from someone who had the set. And that, I don't know. I mean, I haven't really looked at the prices, but eventually I have to like shave. I've like got like a ton of facial hair. Very unkept. But at some point, I'm sure, like I'll start streaming a few other things, but like when I do, I'll make sure you're aware. I want to. I want to start with like the very small sets from the castle sets and do like the stop motion of the construction of the set. But as far as like a full story, in terms of, I don't know, like I haven't done anything with like minifigures walking around or moving things or picking things up or any sort of thing like that. But just the construction, I think it'd be, like a useful tool in terms of like creating videos. I've watched most, I think all but that one last cast you did, because you were on for such a short period of time. I think right around like that 7 o'clock time frame. But I watched every Twitch stream, but I'll definitely have to check out the stuff you posted on YouTube. I think the one where you had mentioned, like, were showing like the different variations of the characters that you were doing. Like when you had the Joker, and you showed how you changed. You had taken like previous characters and modified it. That was definitely an interesting one. When you kind of like showed a bunch of the different sets that you had when you were showing like the different things in your space. We got a bunch of these stars in this one that you put to the banner. This one's in the banner set. It's like a record player with a bat symbol on it. They gave you 2 of those, but I think it'll probably both be used in the turntables. And there's only 2 bags in this set. I mean, it's like less than 300 pieces for this. Gives you this character. It's got a cape. Not putting it on. I mean, you just type like it's like a hyperlink, so it's like HTTP and then like double backsplash, and then or you can just do like that kind of stuff. Yeah, but I'm trying to like pull it up to see. I mean, there's a prediction video. There's are they like Lego Batman movie sets or just Batman sets? mean, I like the. Let me see if I can find it. I like the scene where he tries to get the costume. Where it's like that character. I mean, I teach at schools, and I work at a restaurant. All right, so like this figure with like this mask that goes on the shuttle set. And then ultimately it turns into this character in the movie because he rips the pants off. Glad you can make it. on some turntables. And there's tons of application, you know. It's just, I think the biggest mistake is that there's never really a clear explanation as students learn throughout grade school, like what you can do with it. You know, if they were to like highlight that and like put more clear examples of how it's used, then people would definitely be more apt to, you know, grasp it. But I mean, you know, it doesn't mean that any other like subject is less important. It's just like I feel like that's just the biggest, you know, drop off in like potential for expanding like the interest in that subject matter. I mean, do you like to read? Do you like to write? Is that the? It's mostly high school. I mean, I've had like lower and middle and like, you know, like much younger children, but for the most part, like the schools that I go to tend to just be high schools, and I mean, for the most part, I've had positive experiences. I mean, there's always like a hiccup there every now and then, but it's like you just have to have the patience to move past any sort of like disruption and focus on those that want to be helped. I mean, you can do it either way. I just, you know, like I know I got to work at like 11:30 or noon or 10:30, somewhere around that time. So I mean, obviously, if you did it 8 in the morning, I could set an alarm and I could watch it. But what do you have planned if you do it in the morning? could do a quick roll call. You can just see who's still with us. And if you got any questions, feel free to post them. I'll respond immediately. I mean, this is definitely like a much smaller build compared to the rest of them. Like the batcave was 8 bags, this one's 2. Instead of doing 1 bag a day, I've just decided to just move right to the second one. I mean, I usually get back around like 6:30. So if you did it at 8, I'd probably be able to catch it regardless. I usually get up around like 5 anyway, but I mean, if that, you just let me know what you prefer to do, and I'll check it out. What do you think I should do first? The superhero cafe or the villain pub? That sounds good. I mean, as soon as I get home, so 7 seems fine. I should be able to check it out on my phone if I run behind getting out of work, and then I can turn on the cast from my computer, and I'll just get a couple people to check it out as well. That's what we did last time when we were talking about the Legends books for Star Wars. I had a couple people check your stream out. And the interesting part about that is like there's so many villains from this movie and these sets that they'll be able to fill out that thing regardless. Um, I mean after after just build with brick streams, I might be able to do one. And the two sets that I still have sealed are the Batmobile and the Ultimate Batmobile. But I've been cleaning a lot of the older bricks. I might be able to put together one of the smaller sets from the castle stuff and put that together as well. So there's a lot of like, I mean, there's tons of those to work on, as well as like the idea that I have for like the superhero cafe, because like that kind of stuff we can build on the studio program as well, and it'll be a way for me to order the pieces once we all figure out what's the best combination of pieces for that would be, and that way we can add it to the list of things for the Wayne Island. She did. She commented. She asked several questions. Yeah. I think one of your classmates had been in that stream as well, so you had spent quite a bit of time interacting with him. So it was around that same time. He had kept putting those like face pictures or images in the text, and that was quite distracting. How did you find him? Right. Excellent. I do not have any pets. I used to, but like not like since I've lived in Tennessee. Just a lot of responsibility. I think it was. Well, I mean, the sticker on it says $29.99, but I think I got it for a discounted rate because depending on depending on the store, they tend to have like discounts periodically, and so like I'll get home and I'll look whether it's Walmart, Target, Barnes and Noble, the Lego store, all of those, and just see which one has like the lowest price, and then to try to make sure I have enough sets for this queue. I'll try to pick up uh, different ones periodically. But yeah, I mean, granted, I mean it's a lot more expensive now than it was when I was collecting it when I was like much younger, but inflation. I mean, if things go up 4% every year, clearly 4 over the course of 20 years, like I mean, this set being $30, I mean it's not acceptable because like the cost of living doesn't really like correspond, but like just because the fact like the cost of living doesn't really like get assisted by wages, but uh, I mean like if I were to like move this camera to show like all of the current like the newer sets that I've built, I mean I've got like all of those are like I mean I've got like the Lego Batman stuff. Most of those sets available. Like I'll move it slightly. Like you can kind of see more of those. There's like a bunch of those sets. I mean, I can move. Actually, it would be easier if I just kind of like. Well. That one's messed up. Well. I should have just moved some of the sets over. But. Like, okay, so there's 24 Well, there's 24 sets from like 7901 all the way to 79024. Then they have a set where they have 3 police officers as like a almost like a blister pack, and then they've got 2 minifigure sets. So like that set with the police officers, they've got these 3. It comes with like 2 males and a female, with binoculars, handcuffs, and I guess like a pistol ish. But you can combine the pistol and the binoculars to make like a shotgun. With those, and they've all got different like headgear and hair pieces and such. Well, I mean, they've got like, I mean, all the ones by me, they've got like a whole section full of like they've got like I don't. It might be worth even just going through with my camera and just showing like the whole display that they have. I mean, it's like a bookcase, or several, like maybe 6 or 7 bookcases across, and they cram as many different like current sets as possible. They've even got some of um, they've got like a couple Lego idea sets. They got a lot of architecture sets, but it's definitely a good place to go. I mean, you pay a little bit more than the suggested retail price because it depends on where you go. Like if you go to the ones that are on campus, those are like a franchise of Barnes and Noble, so they have their own set of like corporate decisions that go on. Then you've got like the corporate side, um, where it's just like the actual Barnes and Noble, and they have like their discounts and promos. Like I still think you can get like the 30% off on most of the sets that they still have in stock. You can't actually have them ship it to you for free shipping because those warehouses have been sold out for most of the sets for the Lego Batman. But I mean, they have other ones. I mean, I'm sure you can still get all the Harry Potter stuff. And then if you go to the website, it'll show like all of the current promos and discounts. They even have a thing where you can pay like 25. I think it's $25 a year for like a membership, and you get like an additional 10% off. But like that, I don't believe can be combined with everything. So you got to be kind of careful on that. Well, I mean, it may be like your parents are intentionally not believing that there's Lego there for a good reason. But yeah, I mean, it happens. I remember like growing up, I used to pester my parents all the time to go to like different toy stores. It's supposed to be every other one, and I'm putting this on every one of them. Then you gotta rotate it and spread it out. Good times. All the viewers are welcome. think that should wrap this up with all of the extra pieces going in that bag. And they have like an alternate wing set for the Hawk Girl. There's supposed to be a cape for this, a cape for that, cape for that. Didn't put them on. It's just a habit I've been recently getting into. I just like to have like a back stock of like stuff that's like not used. I'm gonna try to double up on stickers before I start applying extra sets of stickers. Maybe doubling up on the pieces that go on. Yeah, but this is part of like there were like only like 6 sets that they released in 2018. It was the Doom Buggy, the Egghead with Condiment King, the Harley Quinn with like had like that invisible dude and Quilt Man and Batgirl, and then it had this set with all of the pieces visible from here, and then it had the banner and the shuttle. Yeah, the shuttle was like the other set for the 2018 and the Series 2. Are you referring to like the stickers, like holding off on applying the stickers? Let's see. If anyone wants to like just name a set that, I mean, the only 2 that I don't have are the Arkham Asylum and the Batwing, as far as the boxed sets. If there's any one of them you want to see, I've already got all but the other 2 Batmobiles constructed. So if you wanted to take a peek at those, I could put those on display before I move this over, or after I move this over. I mean, they're like, okay, so they've transitioned from the ones that used to. I mean, I know I've shown you the ones where, like the Majesto from the Castle set, it was like a hard plastic, like a cape from that, and then it was right around that period where they started moving to the cloth capes, and they have like the Royal Knights. The King has his own cloth cape. And a number, I think the Fright Knights have pieces that have like cloth for their capes as well. And let's just set this off to the side. But yeah, I mean, it's even in this set, even in this theme series, they've got like 2 different kinds of capes. They've got the capes for Batgirl and Robin, and that's like the older version of capes, and then the Batman character has has a newer version of that. I think even in the Star Wars ones, they've got like more of like a nylon with more of like designs in the cape itself with the patterns and things like that. Because I know I remember seeing one with like the Kylo. But yeah, I mean, it's they got to keep trying new things, because if they don't, it can get kind of stale. But that's it. I mean, minus the capes. I mean, I put the wings on Hawkgirl, one of the two, just because it's definitely worth seeing how that turns out. But after you put together like 15 Lego Batman and they're all like exactly the same, you kind of like hold off on duplicates. But that was a newer one. Yeah, I could do the Superman one too, but in general, I want to kind of get multiples of the of certain capes and stickers before I apply them all. Just because I'm a stickler for trying to get it on just right, and I get frustrated when I don't apply it properly. So. But as always, man, I appreciate you checking in, and I'll see your stream tomorrow, and take care.